Hi, everyone, and welcome to the D-Tools What's the Buzz podcast, episode number 4. I'm Jason Knott, Data Solutions Architect and Evangelist at D-Tools, and as always, alongside me is my co-host, Tim Bagonis, Chief Marketing Officer at D-Tools. Hey, Tim.
Hey, Jason. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for joining me today, and it's great to be here, and I know especially we have a subject and a guest today that's close to your heart.
Yes, I'm excited. Our guest today is Richard Charchand from Acoustic Smart Home Theaters. Rich and I are friends. We're in the CE Pro band together and played for a few years now. We're getting ready to play again at CEDIA this year. D-Tools is collaborating with Richard. He's got a book that's coming out at CEDIA. Rich, why don't you tell us a little bit about AcoustiSmart and especially the book? What's going on there?
Yeah, so it's all good stuff. So my book is called Home Theaterology, and my company AcoustiSmart, we've been around for almost 27, 28 years, and we design and we build private cinemas around the country, and we work with dealers around the country to create a turnkey environment for them for when they're building a theater. So if someone wants to build a theater and they don't know how to actually do the interior, but they're great at doing the audio, we come in as a true partner, so that it's a turnkey experience for them. And the book that we're coming out with is really to help the dealers even more, because what we tend to do once we do a project with the dealers, we give them one of our portfolio books, which we change every 6 months. It's a hardcover book. It's really nice, and everybody's like, "Can I get one of those?" So the idea was to do something like that with 15 projects that are truly unique, but that would be something palpable for what a client would maybe want in their own home. Something that's not so crazy over the top. But we also wanted to educate clients and interior designers. So when they're building a theater, they get some knowledge about what is this acoustic stuff. Why do I need acoustics? Why is this so important?
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Well, tell us a little bit. A little bit about your background, your music background, and how you got to the point where you're doing the theaters and you're doing the book. What was really the background and genesis, and how did you get into this industry?
So it's so weird. My journey. Like I always tell my kids, you really just can't get to see the wizard. You got to meet all the characters along the way first, and then you get to see the wizard. And everybody has their own journey. You don't know who you're going to meet along the way, and nobody ends up knowing what they're going to be doing with their life. They might think they do. I mean, if they want to be a doctor, that's one thing. But then, what kind of a doctor? Maybe they become a specialist player. So with me, I was actually a musician for many years, and I had a publishing deal with Screen Gems. I was trying to write songs, and I had a band, and I did it for a long time. And then what happened was grunge music came out, and Nirvana came out, and I wasn't writing that kind of music. And honestly, I didn't really know what to do. I was like, well, that kind of put me out of business because I don't even understand it. I don't know how to write like this. It's not my thing. And I had nothing, because I put everything into my music at that point. So I knew somebody who was in the audio business, and he had a theater, and he used to always show me these theaters that he was doing. I'm like, haven't you ever heard of acoustics? And coming from my music background, I'd be like, if you put acoustics in this room, it makes such a big difference. The client was like, I want to get this acoustic treatment. I hear this makes a big difference in your theater. And they were going to bring somebody in from Florida. And he was like, well, I know somebody's right here in New York. You don't need to go to Florida. And so I ended up doing this one job for him. And I kid you not, I knew it was going to make a difference. I didn't think it was going to make that big of a difference. And then when I got my final invoice, he wrote me a letter, and then he gave me $1,000 bonus on my invoice. And I showed it to my father, and I was like, maybe more people would want this. And all it took was just one job for them to see the difference. And then I knew I had something. But back then, very few people were doing theaters. It was very difficult, and that's always been my journey. It's always been like, for everybody in the home theater industry, home theater designers have always been the redheaded stepchild of the industry. We've never, people just didn't know what to make of us. because we're all like tech nerds and we're all into, we're all trying to get this perfect theater, and I think we're getting there because we're just getting better with every room that we build, and we're still learning. We don't know it all.
Whenever I hear a great story like that, it always makes me feel so deficient when you hear the talent that you've got, and I know Tim has, and both of you being from your musical roots that you're able
Yeah.
to bring to the market is really impressive, and it's something that's much more common in this industry than you see in a lot of other industries. But let me turn it back to the book for a second. The book's called Home Theaterology.
Yeah.
So, I know you kind of mentioned the reasons for putting the book together, and you're going to kind of have a little bit of a coming out party at CEDIA Expo. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah. So it's going to be like we're going on tour, so to speak. We're going to be. We have a lot of sponsors that are involved in this book: D Tools, JBL Synthesis, the Kaleidoscape group. They're incredible. They're involved in the book. CD's involved in the book. Barco's involved in the book. Man VR makes also an incredible product, and they're involved in the book. And Emerald and CEDIA Expo is actually 100% behind the book. So it's really amazing because the book is really it's to promote home theater. It's to help to promote sales and to educate architects and interior designers on home theater. It's a nonprofit thing for us. It's really to support the whole industry because I think with education comes knowledge, right? So the biggest thing in our industry is that I don't think anybody's educated enough, and they don't really understand what the importance is. Like, why do you even need acoustics in these rooms? Like, what is this all about? So there is a section that talks about acoustics. So if an AV dealer has a client and they want to do a theater, they can literally give this book to the client, and they'll get it. They'll because it's done in such layman's it's not a how-to book, but it's enough to sort of get them educated so they know what to do the theater right now. Whereas nobody really had that before. They would have to do search and go online, and there's a lot of stuff online that it's kind of confusing. So we try to take all that out of it. And then I have a lot of experts in the industry like Tony Gramani and Joel Silver and Theo Kalmarakis, who's the father of home theater. He's involved in the book. And where Theo's point was, he's pretty much retired now. We're going to be carrying that torch for him because he loves home theater. He's into it. He's passionate. And so are we. I mean, it's not easy building these rooms. It's hard, really hard. And it's 6 to 8 months of my life. Some jobs take a year and a half. Some jobs longer. It's not easy work, but when the work is done and you see the finished product, it's very rewarding in that respect. But sometimes going through that journey is tough. And interior designers and architects sometimes don't want to go through that journey or they don't understand it. And the idea is to educate them and to let them know it's okay, because you have a partner, whether it's us or another theater design firm. There's many companies out there now that can help you get to where you need to be, and you don't have to talk clients out of it because you're afraid of it or you don't understand it. And the AV dealers are starting to learn that there is a support team out there, people who actually care and they want to help you, and we're on that team. So that's why the book is out there. It's out there to really help as many dealers as possible, so that they understand that audio calibration and video calibration is not to be neglected. There was a whole thing on audio calibration now that was put out by CEDIA. Now they're working on one for video calibration and the importance of it and the values of it, which is being done by Joel Silver. So these elements make or break a home theater. And every showroom, every theater that you build, that any AV dealer builds, is a showroom. Because if that theater is lackluster, if it's lame, then somebody's going to go into it and be like, oh, that's okay, that's nice. But if somebody goes into it and says, wow, I just had an amazing experience, when can I come over again? Or I'd like to have that in my own home. That's when you know that you did a good job. And you can tell which theaters are the theaters that are really going to blow your mind. Because if you go into a theater and you don't feel like you're in the movie or part of the movie, then you didn't do the job right. Or you walk into a theater and it's a 2.40 aspect ratio screen and you see bars in the top and bottom, which that's happened to us more than once. And that's a sin. Should not be happening. The room should be programmed right. A little bit of love should be put into these rooms because they're spending a lot of money. So I'm throwing out there enough things that are just basics, nothing crazy, but stuff that should be taken into account, and people should take it seriously. Because if you talk to any AV dealer on the planet, what is their favorite thing to do? They're not going to say home automation. They're going to say, I love building movie theaters. I love doing it. But how many people do theaters? Maybe one a year, if they're lucky. Whereas they should be doing 4 a year. And a lot of it is because of education and knowledge. So we want to be able to make it so they have a book that they can give out to clients, interior designers, and say, just read this book. And if you're interested, let me know. Because we can do something like this for you. And that's a pretty strong thing to have in your arsenal.
So integrators come by your booth. They should, want to. The plan now, the idea is for them to purchase these books and either give them to customers or at the very minimum show them to their architects, their designers, and their high-end customers. And so where are you going to be at CEDIA Expo specifically?
Yeah, so like I said, we're kind of going to be on tour. So we're going to start off, we have a big signing at 12:30 at the CEDIA booth. And we're going to have some special guests there. I can't really name that yet, but they're pretty special. And then we're going to be all over the show floor at all our sponsors' booths. We're going to be at D-Tools, of course. We're going to be at JBL Synthesis. We're going to be at the Kaleidoscape booth. We're going to be at Barco's booth. And then we're going to have our own booth. So, and we're going to make it very easy. So if you can't get it to any of the book signings, you're going to see people walking around with home theaterology shirts, and they're going to have cards with the QR code. All you have to do is scan the QR code, and you can pick it up at the show, or you can have it shipped to your house, so you don't have to bring it with you. So we're going to make it easy. We're also going to have people at the actual booth, which is booth number 4220, where there's going to be people there, selling books. But at CEDIA, you're going to be able to get the book at a discount. We want people to come to CEDIA, and we want them to learn from it, and to take courses, get educated, and be a part of what we're trying to do here. So that's why we're not really, we're taking orders. We're taking orders now in advance, but we're not going to be delivering them until after CEDIA, because we do want people to come to CEDIA. We think it's really important. So you're going to be able to go to our booth 4220. It's under Acoustic Smart because we're the ones who produced the book. And then we're going to be at 12:30 at the CEDIA booth on Thursday, and then we're going to be at JBL. And you're going to see it all over the CEDIA Daily News. You're going to see all sorts of banners around. I mean, we will be everywhere.
Well, we're excited to have you at the D-Tools booth at some point during the show, booth 2724. And all of our listeners and all of our watchers, please come by our booth at CEDIA Expo. We're going to have prizes. We're going to have our traditional happy hour Thursday at 3 o'clock on September 5th. So, and I'm sure we will see you there, Richard. While I've got you, I want to touch on something that you mentioned earlier about the importance of acoustics and calibration and those sorts of things. I can remember years ago, we did an interview when I was at CE Pro with Alan Parsons, and he was very adamant to say that he was very frustrated with the focus, the lower focus on room acoustics and the higher focus on high-end gear.
Wow.
Has that changed? Is that still the same? If you're an integrator, obviously they kind of want to try and push that high-end gear because there's profitability and those sorts of things in that. But how do they balance that focus of the high-end gear versus the room acoustics, which you say, as you noted, makes so much difference in a room?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, I've done rooms where we've just taken a Denon receiver and we made it sound good. But obviously, if you have really good gear and the room's tuned properly, you can make the room sound amazing. I mean, it's a fact.
How much more important is that becoming now? One of the trends we're seeing is we're hearing from integrators anecdotally is this replacement of the projector with the perforated screen instead with a video wall. We're seeing,
Yeah.
and how does that create an acoustical? I don't want to call it a nightmare, but the
Yeah.
need for acoustics has got to be much more important in that sort of a scenario with a hard surface like that.
Yeah, we've done them before. We've done a bunch of them. We did probably the first couple of them that were ever in the country, and they look cool as hell. They're really cool.
Really cool.
You know, the pictures, but I think there's only one company out there that figured it out. And even then, it's not perfect because that, you know, when you go to commercial theater, it sounds a lot better when the sound is coming from the screen. And when you're doing this, when you have a video wall up, you have two choices. You can put it above, or you can put it below this LED wall, which is pretty low to the ground, which means your audio will be covered up by the seats in your first row, your second row, and that third row gets nothing. So the other option is doing a phantom channel. You do left and right, and then you try to dial in the center channel, which can be done by a really good calibrator. To me, there's still nothing better than a screen and a projector, and having all the speakers in the right places back of the screen, because then the first row, the second row, and the third row, they're all getting the same sound. Like I used to, tell my AV dealers when they would do these theaters without the woven screens, because they were worried about the video getting downplayed and not being as good. And I said, the video right now is pretty damn good, and you really can't see the difference with the woven screens anymore. It's, it's right on the money. So in the old days, you used to have to put the center channel underneath the screen, and which is kind of how I have mine set up, because we did a center curve and we did the center channel underneath the screen, and the front row sounds amazing, but your second row is missing half that sound because it's all being blocked by the front row.
Right.
So when you have a woven screen and you have that center channel in back of that screen and the left and right, if the screen's big enough, then everybody gets the same sound. It's a win-win for everybody, and it's a much better experience. And the speakers have gotten so good that there's a lot of dimension even when it comes to music. I always test, like an audio system by how well it plays a concert, because anybody can make movies sound good. But if you can get the music to sound good, that's really when it comes to critical listening. And we're achieving that now. And you can watch a concert in your theater. It's better than being at a concert, 100%. It's pretty amazing. You can hear everything from the plucking of the strings to the bass right in front of you to the kick drum. You can actually feel the kick drum right in your heart. If you really know what you're doing. And a lot of people I work with can achieve that. I mean, that's one of the first things I show is a demo of something good with maybe two guys in the left and right speaker playing acoustic guitar, and you're hearing them playing off each other, and you're hearing that stereo imaging of the two acoustic guitars together. It's mind-blowingly cool how that feels.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing the book when it comes out.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to CDI. It'll be great to catch up. I know we get to play again in the CE Pro band, which is always fun.
Yeah.
And I believe this year we're playing for the CEDIA Awards, so that'll be new. And I think that's Friday. I'm not quite sure on the times yet, but so that'll be fun. And we'll be able to catch up.
I realize that we got like a full horn section, and it's a pretty big band. And what's interesting is that the band is made up of all guys in the in the industry that run companies, and they're doing this on their free time, and it's a big undertaking, and then we only get 2 practices.
That's it.
Hours each or whatever it is, and some of the people that we've had over the years came from England. They came from all over the country, and you never know who you're going to meet, because it also morphs and it changes. It's like seeing the Eagles. You never know who's going to be taking that spot of Glenn Fry or whatever, But yeah, so it's cool. So we have a couple of new players this year, and it's I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, it always is, but I think this year it's going to be a big blast. It's going to be a big shebang. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm also playing at my daughter's wedding too, which is
well, congratulations and awesome.
I'm always in awe of you musicians because the only musical instrument that I can play is the radio.
nice.
So
Hopefully you turn that up to 11 when you do that.
exactly. Well, this has been fantastic information. I'm really excited to see also those demo ideas that you have in home theaterology, knowing you're talking about the importance of room acoustics. And thank you for joining the podcast today. I'm going to throw it to Tim for the sign off. And Richard, it's always great to talk to you.
Yeah, and thanks so much.
We also have a secret hidden demo, because there's a lot of demos that people don't even know about, like they're on disc, and they don't know about it because they don't talk about it, and until you buy the disc, you don't know it's there. It's like a secret hidden demo. So we have a couple of those, and there's also going to be a bunch of those on our website, because some of those are the real nice cherry picks that people don't know about, and that's kind of what makes it fun.
Nice. Well, Rich, it was great catching up. I look forward to seeing you in just a few weeks. Congrats on everything you're doing and the book coming out. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
And thanks everyone for joining us today. For more information, as always, if you're interested in what we're doing here at D-Tools, go to our website, www.d-tools.com. And of course, if you want to subscribe to our podcast, you can catch us on Apple and Spotify. Rich Sharshan, thank you very much. Jason, as always, thank you. And we'll catch up soon.